2022 General Studies 1. 1. How will you explain the medieval Indian temple sculptures represent the social life of those days? Medieval Indian temple sculptures are a valuable resource for understanding the social life of the time. They offer a rich tapestry of depictions that encompass deities, everyday activities, diverse representations, artistic styles, and regional variations. Some of the ways in which medieval Indian temple sculptures represent the social life of those days include depictions of deities. The sculptures often represent various Hindu gods and goddesses, reflecting their religious and social significance. These deities are often depicted in scenes of everyday life, such as dancing, playing music, or engaging in battle. This helps us to understand how these deities were seen as being involved in the everyday lives of people. Scenes of everyday life. The sculptures also depict the intricacies of daily life, including agricultural activities, women engaged in household chores, and people cooking and eating. This gives us a glimpse into the social and economic life of the time. Diverse representation. The people depicted in these sculptures come from all walks of life, from noblemen and warriors to commoners, showcasing the social diversity of the time. This helps us to understand the different social roles and hierarchies that existed in medieval India. Artistic styles. The sculptures vary in artistic style, reflecting the different regional cultures of India. This helps us to understand the cultural diversity of the time. Regional variations. The sculptures also vary in regional variations, reflecting the different religious and cultural traditions of different parts of India. This helps us to understand the regional diversity of the time. Overall, medieval Indian temple sculptures provide a valuable resource for understanding the social life of the time. They offer a rich tapestry of depictions that help us to understand the religious, social, economic, and cultural life of medieval India. Here are some specific examples of how medieval Indian temple sculptures represent the social life of those days. The Khajuraho temples in Madhya Pradesh are famous for their erotic sculptures. These sculptures depict a variety of sexual positions and activities, and they provide a glimpse into the sexual mores of medieval India. The Konark Sun Temple in Odisha is famous for its depiction of chariots and horses. These sculptures reflect the importance of transportation and warfare in medieval India. The Meenakshi Temple in Madurai is famous for its depiction of women in various roles. These sculptures reflect the diverse roles that women played in medieval Indian society. These are just a few examples of how medieval Indian temple sculptures represent the social life of those days. These sculptures are a valuable resource for understanding the rich and complex social history of India. 2. Why did the armies of the British East India Company, mostly comprising of Indian soldiers, win consistently against the more numerous and better equipped armies of the Indian rulers? Give reasons. Answer in 150 words. The armies of the British East India Company were able to win consistently against the more numerous and better equipped armies of the Indian rulers for a number of reasons. These include superior military technology. The British had access to more advanced weapons and artillery than the Indian rulers. This gave them a significant advantage in battle. More disciplined troops. The British troops were more disciplined and better trained than the Indian troops. This made them more effective in battle. Better leadership. The British commanders were generally more experienced and skilled than the Indian commanders. This gave them an edge in battle. Divide and rule. The British were able to exploit the political divisions among the Indian rulers. This allowed them to pit one ruler against another and weaken their opposition. Economic power. The British East India Company had access to vast resources, which allowed them to fund their military campaigns. These factors combined to give the British a decisive advantage in their wars against the Indian rulers. As a result, they were able to conquer large swathes of territory and establish their rule over India. In addition to the above reasons, the British also benefited from the following factors. The support of some Indian rulers, such as Mir Jafar, saw the British as a way to protect their own interests, and so they allied with them against their rivals. The weakness of the Mughal Empire. The Mughal Empire was in decline at the time, and this made it easier for the British to conquer its territories. The lack of unity among the Indian rulers. The Indian rulers were often divided, and this made it difficult for them to mount a united resistance against the British. These factors all contributed to the British East India Company's success in India. 3. Why was there a sudden spurt in famines in colonial India since the mid-18th century? Give reasons. Answer in 150 words. There was a sudden spurt in famines in colonial India since the mid-18th century due to a number of factors, including natural factors. Famines were often caused by natural disasters such as droughts, floods, and crop failures. These disasters were more likely to occur in colonial India due to the British government's policies, which led to deforestation and environmental degradation. Economic factors. The British government's economic policies also contributed to famines. These policies led to the concentration of land ownership in the hands of a few landlords, who often extracted high rents from the peasantry. This made it difficult for the peasantry to afford food when there was a crop failure. Administrative factors. The British government's administrative policies also contributed to famines. The government often failed to provide timely relief to the affected areas, and its relief measures were often inadequate. The combination of these factors made famines more likely to occur in colonial India, and they resulted in the deaths of millions of people. Here are some additional reasons for the spurt in famines in colonial India. The permanent settlement. The permanent settlement of 1793, which granted landlords permanent ownership of land, led to increased rents for peasants and a decline in agricultural productivity. The expansion of export agriculture. The British government encouraged the expansion of export agriculture, such as indigo and cotton, which led to the diversion of food crops to foreign markets. The neglect of irrigation. The British government neglected irrigation infrastructure, which made it more difficult to cope with droughts. These factors all contributed to the increased vulnerability of the Indian population to famine in the colonial period. 4. Describe the characteristics and types of primary rocks. Answer in 150 words. Characteristics. Formed from molten rock. Primary rocks are formed from molten rock, which solidifies and crystallizes into a dense mass of minerals. Hard and dense. Primary rocks are typically hard and dense, making them resistant to weathering and erosion. Unfossiliferous. Primary rocks do not contain any fossils. Color. The color of primary rocks is often determined by the minerals that they contain. Types. Igneous rocks. Igneous rocks are formed from the cooling and solidification of magma or lava. Extrusive igneous rocks. These rocks are formed when lava cools and solidifies on the surface of the earth. They are typically fine-grained. Intrusive igneous rocks. These rocks are formed when magma cools and solidifies below the surface of the earth. They are typically coarse-grained. Pegmatites. Pegmatites are a type of igneous rock that is characterized by its large crystals. They are often rich in valuable minerals, such as quartz, feldspar, and mica. Examples. Granite. Granite is a type of intrusive igneous rock that is composed of quartz, feldspar, and mica. It is a hard and dense rock that is often used in construction. Basalt. Basalt is a type of extrusive igneous rock that is composed of pyroxene, olivine, and plagioclase feldspar. It is a fine-grained rock that is often used in road construction. Pegmatite. Pegmatite is a type of igneous rock that is characterized by its large crystals. It is often rich in valuable minerals, such as quartz, feldspar, and mica. 5. Discuss the meaning of color-coded weather warnings for cyclone-prone areas given by India Meteorological Department. The India Meteorological Department, IMD, uses a color-coded system to warn people about cyclones and other severe weather events. The colors are: green, no cyclone warning in effect; yellow, cyclone watch in effect. This means that there is a possibility of a cyclone forming in the next 5 days. Orange, cyclone warning in effect. This means that a cyclone is likely to form in the next 24 hours. Red, cyclone alert in effect. This means that a cyclone is expected to make landfall in the next 6 hours. The IMD also issues advisories for other severe weather events, such as heavy rain, thunderstorms, and floods. The advisories are similar to the color-coded warnings, but they are specific to the type of event. The color-coded warnings are designed to help people prepare for severe weather events. The warnings provide information about the likely impact of the event, and they recommend what steps people should take to stay safe. Here is a table that summarizes the meaning of the color-coded warnings. Color meaning: recommended actions: green, no cyclone warning in effect. No action required. Yellow, cyclone watch in effect. Monitor the situation and be prepared to take action if necessary. Orange, cyclone warning in effect. Take action to protect yourself and your property. Red, cyclone alert in effect. Take urgent action to protect yourself and your property. It is important to note that the color-coded warnings are just a guide. The actual impact of a cyclone or other severe weather event can vary depending on the location and the intensity of the event. It is always best to follow the advice of local authorities during a severe weather event. I hope this helps. 6. Discuss the natural resource potentials of Deccan Trap. Here are some of the natural resource potentials of the Deccan Traps. Minerals. The Deccan Traps are rich in a variety of minerals, including iron ore, manganese, bauxite, copper, and mica. These minerals are used in a variety of industries, such as steel, aluminum, and electronics. Water. The Deccan Traps are a major source of groundwater, which is used for drinking, irrigation, and industrial purposes. The region also has a number of rivers and lakes, which provide water for human use and for supporting wildlife. Soil. The Deccan Traps have some of the most fertile soil in India, which is ideal for growing crops such as cotton, sugarcane, and pulses. The region is also home to a variety of forests, which provide timber and other forest products. Energy. The Deccan Traps have the potential to be a major source of renewable energy, such as wind and solar power. The region also has a number of coal deposits, which can be used to generate electricity. The Deccan Traps are a vast and diverse region with a wealth of natural resources. These resources have the potential to contribute to the economic development of the region and the country as a whole. Here are some additional details about the natural resource potentials of the Deccan Traps. Minerals. The Deccan Traps are home to some of the largest deposits of iron ore in India. The region also has significant deposits of manganese, bauxite, copper, and mica. These minerals are used in a variety of industries, such as steel, aluminum, and electronics. Water. The Deccan Traps are a major source of groundwater in India. The region has an estimated 100 trillion cubic feet of groundwater, which is used for drinking, irrigation, and industrial purposes. The Deccan Traps also have a number of rivers and lakes, which provide water for human use and for supporting wildlife. Soil. The Deccan Traps have some of the most fertile soil in India. The soil is rich in minerals and organic matter, which makes it ideal for growing crops. The region is home to a variety of crops, including cotton, sugarcane, and pulses. Energy. The Deccan Traps have the potential to be a major source of renewable energy. The region has a number of wind and solar power projects, which are generating electricity. The Deccan Traps also have a number of coal deposits, which can be used to generate electricity. The Deccan Traps are a valuable resource for India. The region has a wealth of natural resources, which have the potential to contribute to the economic development of the country. 7. Examine the potential of wind energy in India and explain the reasons for their limited spatial spread. Wind energy is a clean and renewable source of energy that has the potential to contribute significantly to India's energy mix. India has a vast wind resource potential, with an estimated 302 gigawatts of onshore wind power potential and 695 gigawatts of offshore wind power potential. The wind resource in India is concentrated in the western and southern states, with Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka having the highest potential. These states are also home to some of the country's major wind farms. However, the spatial spread of wind energy in India is limited by a number of factors, including the availability of suitable land. Wind farms require large tracts of land, which is not always available in the most suitable locations. The cost of transmission. The cost of transmitting wind power from remote locations to load centers can be high. The variability of wind power. Wind power is a variable source of energy, and the amount of wind power that is generated can vary significantly from day to day. Despite these challenges, the potential for wind energy in India is significant. With the right policies and investments, wind energy can play a major role in meeting India's future energy needs. Here are some specific reasons for the limited spatial spread of wind energy in India. The availability of suitable land. Wind farms require large tracts of land, which is not always available in the most suitable locations. For example, the western and southern states of India have the most suitable wind resources, but these states are also some of the most densely populated states in the country. This makes it difficult to acquire land for wind farms. The cost of transmission. The cost of transmitting wind power from remote locations to load centers can be high. This is because wind farms are often located in remote areas, where the cost of building transmission lines can be high. The variability of wind power. Wind power is a variable source of energy, and the amount of wind power that is generated can vary significantly from day to day. This can make it difficult to integrate wind power into the grid, and it can also lead to fluctuations in electricity prices. Despite these challenges, the potential for wind energy in India is significant. With the right policies and investments, wind energy can play a major role in meeting India's future energy needs. Some of the policies that could help to promote the development of wind energy in India include land acquisition reforms. These reforms would make it easier to acquire land for wind farms. Investments in transmission infrastructure. These investments would help to reduce the cost of transmitting wind power from remote locations to load centers. Support for research and development. These investments would help to improve the efficiency of wind turbines and to develop new technologies for storing wind energy. With the right policies and investments, wind energy can play a major role in meeting India's future energy needs. 8. Explore and evaluate the impact of work from home on family relationships. Work from home, WFH, has become increasingly popular in recent years, and it has had a significant impact on family relationships. There are both positive and negative aspects to WFH, and the impact on family relationships varies depending on the individual family. Some of the positive impacts of WFH on family relationships include increased family time. WFH can allow for more family time, as there is no need to commute to and from work. This can be especially beneficial for families with young children or elderly parents. Improved communication. WFH can also improve communication between family members, as there is more opportunity to talk throughout the day. This can help to build stronger relationships and to resolve conflicts more easily. Flexibility. WFH can provide flexibility for family members, as they can work from home when they need to. This can be especially helpful for families with busy schedules or for families with children who are home from school. However, there are also some negative impacts of WFH on family relationships, including increased distractions. WFH can be more distracting than working in an office, as there are more opportunities for interruptions. This can make it difficult to focus on work and can also lead to conflict with family members. Lack of boundaries. WFH can blur the lines between work and personal life, as employees may feel like they need to be available 24/7. This can lead to stress and burnout, and it can also strain relationships with family members. Isolation. WFH can lead to isolation, as employees may not have as much social interaction as they would if they were working in an office. This can lead to loneliness and depression, and it can also make it difficult to build relationships with colleagues. The impact of WFH on family relationships is complex and depends on a variety of factors, including the individual family's circumstances. However, overall, WFH has the potential to both improve and strain family relationships. It is important for families to communicate openly about their experiences with WFH and to make adjustments as needed to ensure that their relationships remain strong. Here are some additional tips for managing the impact of WFH on family relationships. Set clear boundaries between work and personal time. This can help to reduce distractions and to prevent work from taking over your life. Make time for family activities. This could include eating meals together, going for walks, or watching movies. Communicate with your family about your needs. Let them know if you need help with childcare or if you need some time to yourself. Take breaks throughout the day. This will help you to stay focused and to avoid burnout. Find a supportive community. This could include joining a WFH group or finding a mentor who can offer advice and support. By following these tips, you can help to ensure that WFH has a positive impact on your family relationships. 9. How is the growth of Tier 2 cities related to the rise of a new middle class with an emphasis on the culture of consumption? The growth of Tier 2 cities in India is closely linked to the rise of a new middle class with an emphasis on the culture of consumption. Tier 2 cities are those that are not as large or as developed as Tier 1 cities, such as Delhi, Mumbai, and Bangalore. However, they are growing rapidly, and they are becoming increasingly attractive to businesses and investors. The growth of Tier 2 cities is being driven by a number of factors, including economic growth. The Indian economy is growing rapidly, and this is leading to an increase in demand for goods and services in Tier 2 cities. Industrialization. There is a lot of industrialization happening in Tier 2 cities, which is creating jobs and attracting new businesses. Education. There are a number of good educational institutions in Tier 2 cities, which is attracting young people and their families. Affordability. Tier 2 cities are more affordable than Tier 1 cities, which makes them attractive to businesses and individuals who are looking for a better quality of life. The rise of a new middle class in India is also contributing to the growth of Tier 2 cities. This new middle class is more affluent than previous generations, and they are spending more money on goods and services. This is creating a demand for new businesses and amenities in Tier 2 cities. The culture of consumption is also playing a role in the growth of Tier 2 cities. This culture is characterized by a desire for new and better things, and it is being driven by the rise of social media and e-commerce. This culture is encouraging people in Tier 2 cities to spend more money on goods and services, which is further driving the growth of these cities. In conclusion, the growth of Tier 2 cities in India is closely linked to the rise of a new middle class with an emphasis on the culture of consumption. These factors are working together to create a vibrant and dynamic economy in Tier 2 cities, and they are making these cities increasingly attractive to businesses and individuals. 10. Given the diversities among the tribal communities in India, in which specific contexts should they be considered as a single category? There are over 700 tribal communities in India, each with its own unique culture, language, and history. Despite this diversity, there are some contexts in which tribal communities can be considered as a single category. One context is in terms of their shared experience of marginalization and discrimination. Tribal communities have been historically marginalized by the dominant Hindu society, and they continue to face discrimination in many areas, such as education, employment, and healthcare. This shared experience of marginalization can create a sense of common identity among tribal communities, and it can lead them to unite in common cause. Another context in which tribal communities can be considered as a single category is in terms of their shared relationship to the land. Many tribal communities have a deep connection to the land, and they rely on it for their livelihood. This connection to the land can give tribal communities a sense of common identity, and it can also lead them to unite in defense of their land rights. Finally, tribal communities can be considered as a single category in terms of their shared challenges and opportunities. Many tribal communities face common challenges, such as poverty, illiteracy, and lack of access to healthcare. They also face common opportunities, such as the potential for economic development and the preservation of their culture. This shared experience of challenges and opportunities can create a sense of common purpose among tribal communities, and it can lead them to work together to address these challenges and seize these opportunities. It is important to note that the contexts in which tribal communities can be considered as a single category are limited. In many other contexts, it is important to recognize the diversity of tribal communities and to respect their unique cultures and identities. 11. The political and administrative reorganization of states and territories has been a continuous ongoing process since the mid-19th century. Discuss with examples. Answer in 250 words. The political and administrative reorganization of states and territories in India has been a continuous ongoing process since the mid-19th century. This is due to a number of factors, including the changing demographics of India. India is a vast and diverse country, and its demographics have been changing rapidly over time. This has led to demands for the reorganization of states and territories in order to better reflect the needs of the population. The rise of regionalism. Regionalism has been a growing force in Indian politics in recent decades. This has led to demands for the creation of new states and territories, as well as for the reorganization of existing states and territories. The need for administrative efficiency. The reorganization of states and territories can also be seen as a way to improve administrative efficiency. By grouping together similar areas, it can be easier to provide government services and to coordinate development projects. Some examples of the political and administrative reorganization of states and territories in India include the States Reorganization Act of 1956, which reorganized the states of India on linguistic lines. The creation of the state of Telangana in 2014, which was carved out of the state of Andhra Pradesh. The creation of the Union Territory of Ladakh in 2019, which was carved out of the state of Jammu and Kashmir. The political and administrative reorganization of states and territories is a complex and ongoing process. However, it is a necessary process in order to ensure that the government is able to effectively meet the needs of the population. 12. Discuss the main contributions of Gupta period and Chola period to Indian heritage and culture. The Gupta period, 320 to 642 CE, and the Chola period, 848-1279 CE, were two of the most prosperous and culturally vibrant periods in Indian history. Both periods saw significant advances in art, architecture, literature, and science. The Gupta period is often referred to as the Golden Age of India. During this period, India experienced a period of peace and prosperity, which allowed for the flourishing of art and culture. The Guptas were patrons of the arts, and they supported the construction of temples, palaces, and other public works. They also promoted the study of science and mathematics, and they were responsible for some of the most important advances in these fields. 26. The Chola period was also a time of great cultural achievement. The Cholas were a powerful dynasty that ruled over much of southern India. They were patrons of the arts, and they built some of the most impressive temples in India, including the Brihadiswara temple in Tanjore. The Cholas also made significant contributions to the development of literature and music. Here are some of the specific contributions of the Gupta period and the Chola period to Indian heritage and culture. Gupta period. Art and architecture. The Gupta period saw a flowering of art and architecture. The Guptas were patrons of the arts, and they supported the construction of temples, palaces, and other public works. Some of the most famous examples of Gupta art and architecture include the Ajanta caves, the Ellora caves, and the Sankai stupa. Literature. The Gupta period was a golden age for literature. Some of the most famous works of Sanskrit literature were written during this period, including the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, and the Bhagavad Gita. Science. The Gupta period was a time of great advances in science. The Guptas were patrons of science, and they supported the study of mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. Some of the most important advances in these fields were made during this period. Chola period. Art and architecture. The Chola period was a time of great artistic and architectural achievement. The Cholas were patrons of the arts, and they built some of the most impressive temples in India, including the Brihadiswara temple in Tanjore. The Cholas also made significant contributions to the development of sculpture, painting, and bronze casting. Literature. The Chola period was a time of great literary activity. The Cholas were patrons of literature, and they supported the writing of epics, poems, and plays. Some of the most famous works of Tamil literature were written during this period. Music. The Chola period was a time of great musical achievement. The Cholas were patrons of music, and they supported the development of Carnatic music. Carnatic music is a form of classical music that is still practiced today. The Gupta period and the Chola period were two of the most important periods in Indian history. Both periods saw significant advances in art, architecture, literature, and science. These advances have had a lasting impact on Indian culture, and they continue to be admired and studied today. 13. Discuss the significance of the lion and bull figures in Indian mythology, art and architecture. The lion and bull are two of the most important animals in Indian mythology, art, and architecture. They are both associated with strength, power, and royalty. Lion. The lion is the national animal of India, and it is often seen as a symbol of kingship. In Hindu mythology, the lion is associated with the god Vishnu, who is often depicted riding a lion. The lion is also associated with the goddess Durga, who is often depicted slaying a lion. Bull. The bull is also a sacred animal in Hinduism, and it is associated with the god Shiva. The bull is also associated with fertility and prosperity. In Jainism, the bull is associated with the god Neminatha. Both the lion and the bull are often depicted in Indian art and architecture. They are often found on temple pillars, doorways, and other architectural features. They are also found in sculptures and paintings. The lion and the bull are both powerful symbols in Indian culture. They represent strength, power, and royalty. They are also associated with religious beliefs and values. In addition to their religious significance, the lion and the bull also have a number of other symbolic meanings. For example, the lion is often seen as a symbol of courage and the bull as a symbol of strength and fertility. These animals are also often associated with the natural world, and they can represent the power of nature. The lion and the bull are two of the most important animals in Indian culture, and they have been depicted in art and architecture for centuries. They are powerful symbols that represent a variety of concepts, including strength, power, royalty, courage, fertility, and the natural world. 14. What are the forces that influence ocean currents? Describe their role in fishing industry of the world. There are several factors that influence ocean currents, including the Earth's rotation. The Earth's rotation causes a force called the Coriolis force, which deflects moving objects to the right in the northern hemisphere and to the left in the southern hemisphere. This force is what causes ocean currents to flow in a generally circular pattern. The temperature of the water. Warm water is less dense than cold water, so it tends to rise to the surface. This creates a current called the thermohaline circulation, which is a major driver of ocean currents. The shape of the coastline. The shape of the coastline can also influence ocean currents. For example, a cape or an island can cause a current to be deflected. The wind can also cause ocean currents to flow. When the wind blows over the surface of the ocean, it creates friction, which can cause the water to move. Ocean currents play an important role in the fishing industry. They help to distribute nutrients and plankton, which are food for fish. They also help to transport fish to different areas. For example, the Gulf Stream brings warm water from the Gulf of Mexico to the North Atlantic, which creates a favorable environment for fish such as cod and mackerel. The fishing industry is a major economic activity in many parts of the world. It provides jobs, food, and income for millions of people. Ocean currents play an important role in the fishing industry, and they help to ensure that there is a sustainable supply of fish. Here are some specific examples of how ocean currents influence the fishing industry. The Gulf Stream is a warm current that flows from the Gulf of Mexico to the North Atlantic. The Gulf Stream helps to distribute nutrients and plankton, which are food for fish. This makes the North Atlantic a major fishing ground for cod, mackerel, and other fish. The Antarctic Circumpolar Current is a strong current that flows around Antarctica. The Antarctic Circumpolar Current helps to mix the water in the Southern Ocean, which helps to distribute nutrients and plankton. This makes the Southern Ocean a major fishing ground for fish such as krill, squid, and fish. The equatorial countercurrent is a current that flows from east to west in the Pacific Ocean. The equatorial countercurrent helps to transport fish from the western Pacific to the eastern Pacific. This makes the eastern Pacific a major fishing ground for tuna, swordfish, and other fish. Ocean currents are a complex and dynamic system that plays an important role in the fishing industry. By understanding how ocean currents work, we can better understand how to manage our fisheries and ensure that there is a sustainable supply of fish for future generations. 15. Describing the distribution of rubber-producing countries, indicate the major environmental issues faced by them. Sure. Here is the distribution of rubber-producing countries and the major environmental issues they face. Southeast Asia. This region is the world's largest producer of natural rubber, with Thailand, Indonesia, and Vietnam being the top 3 producers. The environmental issues facing rubber production in this region include deforestation, soil erosion, and water pollution. South America. Brazil is the world's largest producer of synthetic rubber, and it is also a major producer of natural rubber. The environmental issues facing rubber production in this region include deforestation, water pollution, and air pollution. Africa. Nigeria, Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Liberia are the top 3 producers of natural rubber in Africa. The environmental issues facing rubber production in this region include deforestation, soil erosion, and water pollution. Here are some of the specific environmental issues faced by rubber-producing countries. Deforestation. Rubber trees are typically grown on plantations, which require large areas of land. This can lead to deforestation, which can have a number of negative environmental impacts, such as soil erosion, loss of biodiversity, and climate change. Soil erosion. Rubber trees are planted in rows, which can leave the soil exposed to the elements. This can lead to soil erosion, which can damage waterways and pollute water supplies. Water pollution. Rubber production requires a lot of water, and this water can be contaminated with chemicals used in the production process. This can pollute rivers, lakes, and groundwater. Air pollution. The burning of rubber tires can release harmful pollutants into the air, such as particulate matter and sulfur dioxide. These pollutants can cause respiratory problems and other health problems. These are just some of the environmental issues faced by rubber-producing countries. It is important to be aware of these issues so that we can take steps to mitigate their impact. 16. Troposphere is a very significant atmospheric layer that determines weather processes. How? Sure, the troposphere is the lowest layer of Earth's atmosphere. It is where most of the weather occurs, including clouds, rain, snow, and storms. The troposphere is also where the temperature decreases with altitude, which is why it is warmest at the surface and coldest at the top. The troposphere is a very dynamic layer, with winds, clouds, and storms constantly moving. This is because the troposphere is heated from the bottom by the Earth's surface. The heated air rises, cools, and then falls back down, creating a circulation pattern that drives weather. The troposphere is also where the majority of Earth's water vapor is found. This water vapor condenses to form clouds, which can release precipitation. Precipitation is essential for life on Earth, as it provides water for plants, animals, and humans. The troposphere is a very important layer of Earth's atmosphere, and it plays a vital role in weather processes. Without the troposphere, life on Earth would not be possible. Here are some of the specific ways in which the troposphere determines weather processes. Convection. Convection is the process by which warm air rises and cool air falls. This process is driven by the uneven heating of the Earth's surface. Warm air rises because it is less dense than cool air. As the warm air rises, it cools and condenses, forming clouds. The clouds can then release precipitation, such as rain or snow. Winds. Winds are caused by the uneven heating of the Earth's surface. The sun heats the Earth's surface unevenly, which creates pressure differences. These pressure differences drive winds, which can then move clouds and precipitation. Storms. Storms are caused by the combination of convection, winds, and water vapor. When warm, moist air rises, it cools and condenses, forming clouds. The clouds can then release precipitation, which can further cool the air and create more condensation. This process can lead to the formation of thunderstorms, hurricanes, and other severe weather events. The troposphere is a complex and dynamic layer of Earth's atmosphere. It plays a vital role in weather processes, and it is essential for life on Earth. 17. Analyze the salience of sect in Indian society vis-a-vis caste, region and religion. Sect is a religious group that is distinguished from others of the same religion by some distinctive doctrine, observance, or mode of worship. In Indian society, sect is often closely intertwined with caste, region, and religion. Caste. In India, caste is a social hierarchy that divides people into different groups based on their birth. Sect can play a role in caste, as some sects are associated with particular castes. For example, the Lingate sect is associated with the Shudra caste, while the Namdari sect is associated with the Jat caste. Region. Sect can also be associated with region. For example, the Kabir Panth sect is found primarily in the northern states of India, while the Satnami sect is found primarily in the central states of India. Religion. Sect can also be associated with religion. For example, the Arya Samaj sect is a Hindu sect, while the Ahmadiyya sect is a Muslim sect. The salience of sect in Indian society varies depending on the region and the religion. In some regions, sect may be more important than caste or religion, while in other regions, sect may be less important. Here are some of the specific ways in which sect can be salient in Indian society. Religious identity. Sect can be a source of religious identity for people. This is especially true for people who belong to sects that are not mainstream. For example, the Kabir Panth sect provides a religious identity for people who do not fit neatly into the Hindu caste system. Social organization. sect can also be a source of social organization for people. This is especially true for sects that have their own schools, temples, or other institutions. For example, the Satnami sect has its own schools and temples, which provide a sense of community for its members. Political mobilization, sect can also be a source of political mobilization for people. This is especially true for sects that have a strong sense of identity and a shared set of goals. For example, the Arya Samaj sect has been involved in a number of political movements, including the independence movement and the Hindutva movement. The salience of sect in Indian society is a complex issue. It is influenced by a number of factors, including the region, the religion, and the individual's own personal beliefs and experiences. 18. Are tolerance, assimilation, and pluralism the key elements in the making of an Indian form of secularism? Yes, tolerance, assimilation, and pluralism are the key elements in the making of an Indian form of secularism. Tolerance is the ability to accept and respect the beliefs and practices of others, even if they are different from your own. In India, tolerance is essential for secularism to work, as the country is home to a wide variety of religious beliefs and practices. Assimilation is the process of integrating into a new culture or society. In India, assimilation is important for secularism, as it allows people of different religions to live together and share a common culture. Pluralism is the acceptance of the diversity of beliefs and practices within a society. In India, pluralism is essential for secularism, as it allows people of different religions to live together and respect each other's differences. These three elements are all important for secularism in India, as they allow people of different religions to live together in peace and harmony. In addition to these three elements, there are also other factors that contribute to the making of an Indian form of secularism. These include the principle of Sarva Dharma Sambhava. This principle, which means respect for all religions, is central to Indian secularism. It is based on the belief that all religions are equal and that people should be free to practice their own religion without fear of discrimination. The principle of separation of church and state. This principle, which is also known as secularism, is enshrined in the Indian constitution. It ensures that the government does not interfere in religious matters and that religious institutions do not interfere in state affairs. The principle of equality. This principle, which is also enshrined in the Indian constitution, guarantees that all citizens are equal before the law, regardless of their religion. These principles and factors all contribute to the making of an Indian form of secularism, which is a unique and vibrant form of secularism that is based on the values of tolerance, assimilation, and pluralism. 19. Elucidate the relationship between globalization and new technology in a world of scarce resources, with special reference to India. Globalization and new technology are two of the most important forces shaping the world today. They are also closely interconnected, and they have a significant impact on the availability and distribution of resources. In a world of scarce resources, globalization can help to increase the efficiency of resource use. This is because it allows for the free flow of goods, services, and capital across borders. This can lead to lower prices for consumers and businesses, and it can also help to reduce waste. However, globalization can also put a strain on resources. This is because it can lead to increased consumption and production. For example, if a country imports goods from another country, it is essentially importing the resources that were used to produce those goods. This can lead to overconsumption and environmental degradation. New technology can also have a significant impact on the availability and distribution of resources. For example, new agricultural technologies can help to increase crop yields, which can help to reduce food insecurity. New energy technologies can help to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels, which can help to mitigate climate change. However, new technology can also have a negative impact on resources. For example, New mining technologies can make it easier to extract resources from the earth, which can lead to environmental damage. New manufacturing technologies can also lead to increased pollution. In India, the relationship between globalization and new technology is particularly important. India is a large and populous country with a growing economy. As India becomes more integrated into the global economy, it will need to find ways to manage its resources more efficiently. New technology can play a role in this, but it is important to ensure that the use of new technology does not have a negative impact on the environment. Here are some specific examples of how globalization and new technology are impacting the availability and distribution of resources in India. Agriculture. India is a major agricultural producer, and globalization has had a significant impact on the agricultural sector. On the one hand, globalization has led to increased demand for Indian agricultural products, which has helped to boost agricultural production. On the other hand, globalization has also led to increased competition from other countries, which has put downward pressure on prices. Energy. India is a major energy consumer, and it is increasingly reliant on imported energy. New energy technologies, such as solar and wind power, have the potential to help India reduce its reliance on imported energy. However, the cost of these technologies is still high, and they are not yet widely available. Water. India is a water-scarce country, and the demand for water is increasing. New water technologies, such as desalination and water recycling, have the potential to help India meet its water needs. However, these technologies are also expensive, and they are not yet widely available. These are just some of the ways in which globalization and new technology are impacting the availability and distribution of resources in India. It is important to carefully consider the potential benefits and risks of these technologies in order to ensure that they are used in a sustainable way. 20. Mention the significance of straits and isthmus in international trade. Straits and isthmuses are narrow stretches of land that connect two larger bodies of water. They are important in international trade because they provide a shortcut for ships traveling between different oceans. Some of the most important straits in the world for international trade include the Strait of Hormuz. This strait connects the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Sea. It is a major choke point for oil shipments, as it is the only way for oil to travel from the Persian Gulf to the rest of the world. The Strait of Malacca. This strait connects the Indian Ocean to the South China Sea. It is a major shipping route for goods traveling between Asia and Europe. The Panama Canal. This canal connects the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. It is a major shortcut for ships traveling between the two oceans. The Suez Canal. This canal connects the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea. It is a major shortcut for ships traveling between Europe and Asia. Isthmuses are also important in international trade. Some of the most important isthmuses in the world for international trade include the Isthmus of Panama. This isthmus connects North America to South America. It is the location of the Panama Canal. The Isthmus of Suez. This isthmus connects Africa to Asia. It is the location of the Suez Canal. The Kra Isthmus. This isthmus connects the Malay Peninsula to the rest of Southeast Asia. It is a potential location for a canal that would connect the Indian Ocean to the South China Sea. Straits and isthmuses are important strategic locations because they can be used to control shipping traffic. This makes them valuable assets for countries that control them. For example, the Strait of Hormuz is controlled by Iran, which gives Iran a great deal of power over the flow of oil through the strait. The significance of straits and isthmuses in international trade is likely to continue to grow in the future. As global trade increases, the demand for these choke points will also increase. This could lead to conflict between countries that control these strategic locations.